Officially going to go ahead and get started now. If you have any questions as we go through, obviously you can type them in the chat box, and then I will answer them periodically when I see them. Okay, so today we are going to be talking all about kind of how to make your retail space pop. And normally, now that I just think about this, I should have been kind of flipped around to where the rest of all of our lotion shelves are here in the training room, because that would kind of explain things a little bit more when I'm talking about how to make your shelves look, and I am not facing that. So I apologize. Starting off right off the bat, I apologize for that. But we will go ahead and kind of talk about how to kind of retail your shelf space and what you're creating and what you're looking to create when you're going through there. When you're kind of like redesigning and recreating kind of different displays that you have. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box as we go through. My name is Megan Racine. For those of you who don't know me, I am the National Sales Trainer here for Devoted Creations. I have been with Devoted for about eight-ish, almost 9 months now. Wow, almost 9 months. And we are flying by. It is about to be May. We are flying through 2021. But I have been here for about 8 or 9 months now, and I kind of have a little bit of a background in tanning, but majority of my background is actually in sports, which is super ironic. I was an athlete for, gosh, about 15, 16 years, and I played soccer for 15 of those, so pretty much my whole athletic career I played soccer. So I kind of went to school for sports, and at the same time while I was in school, I was working at a tanning salon. So that's kind of how I have my background in both of them, and I kind of worked with prominent organizations here in the Tampa Bay area, and which is really cool because I actually spent a year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and tonight is draft night, so I'm super excited to kind of see where this next season goes, starting with the draft. So I just kind of had to kind of throw that out there a little bit about me before we go ahead and get started. So how to make your retail space pop. The very first thing that you are really kind of creating is you're creating a first impression. So not only are your employees kind of that first person that a client sees when they walk in the salon, it's the first face they see. It's the first voice they hear when they're walking in. So not only do they have to make sure that they kind of create that first impression with themselves, your salon is also a first impression. So as soon as they open that door, everything that's in display that they can see is part of that first impression. First impressions happen within the first 3 to 5 seconds. So it is super quick of whether or not they really kind of like the interior or they're really looking around. So they're scanning the whole place to kind of see, they're looking at everything in there. Chairs, displays, mirrors, posters that are on the wall, your employees in general, like they're looking at literally everything. So it takes a very quick 5 seconds for them to really determine that first impression. So new products, you want to make sure new products are being kind of seen first. So any new product you get in, whether you haven't carried it before or it's kind of a product you stopped carrying for a long time and decided to kind of bring it back just to switch up your kind of lotion variations and kind of displaying that new product. So you want to make sure those new products or any sales that you're running are kind of the first thing that they see. Colors and textures do matter as well because that's what draws the person's eye. So they're kind of looking around and whatever catches their eye, they're going to spend a couple more seconds looking at that. So if it's a texture, if it's a bright color or any specific color at all that they kind of draw to, they'll be able to they'll spend a few more seconds kind of looking at that display or that poster or that sign. Research indicates that we actually look also from left to right. So if you walk into a store, my examples are always of Ulta, and that doesn't really work out because the checkout desk is kind of to your left, but that is kind of the first thing I look at. I look at the checkout desk, mainly because someone is always there kind of saying hi and bye. So that's the first voice you hear. So you look over to the left and then you scan everything else. I think that actually has a lot to do with the way we read. So you read a book, you read from left to right, you flip your pages. Granted, you flip your pages from right to left, but you're reading the left page first, then you're reading the right page first. So we naturally look from left to right, and we naturally look from the top to the bottom. So that's kind of how our brain works automatically. You want to have signage, you want to have any advertisements that you have with any information that'll actually help the client kind of look for looking for what they want, looking for what they need. You want to make sure it's at eye level. Anything that's going to be really, really low, they're not going to kind of spend too much time looking at that if that's the only place that that sign is going to be. If it's going to be a little bit higher, they're going to see that when they're kind of scanning the room, but if it's at eye level, it's perfect because they don't really have to move their head or their neck. They can just kind of keep their head on a swivel, and they can end up seeing kind of where everything is pretty much. They don't have to look they don't have to look up, they don't have to look down, they don't have to do anything extra. They're looking at everything that's eye level, which is really nice, especially when you're kind of reading a sign. You don't want to have to look down or squint at something when you're reading a promo or a sale, because maybe the font's not big enough and they can't really read it. So if they can't read it, like for me as an example, if I don't have my glasses on, I basically can actually not see anything. So if I do have my glasses on and I still can't read it, I'm not going to kind of spend the extra few seconds unless that sign really catches my eye. If it's a bright color or there's a picture of a product on there and there's a sale that's going on with it, then I'll spend the extra few seconds kind of looking at it. But if there's going to be like a paragraph that's kind of a smaller text that I can't even read with my glasses on, probably going to kind of not spend the extra few seconds and just continue kind of browsing within the area around that sign in general. So your shelving heights, your layout designs, rule of three, all of those kind of come into effect as well when you're making that first impression. So your shelving heights are going to really give you that depth and that different dimension on your shelves, whether it's going to be the shelves behind the counter, or it's going to be the shelves kind of that are in the lobby, kind of all around, kind of, I guess, encompassing your lobby space. So anything that's going to give a little bit of dimension, you're going to spend a few seconds looking at. And you kind of see that when you go to any makeup store, or you go to Dillard's or Macy's or any of those department stores that really have display tables with different types of heights on them. So you kind of, you look at everything, you scan everything that's kind of on that table. So giving your products kind of that depth, that dimension, the different height differences are really going to kind of draw them in a little bit longer. Sometimes shoppers actually prefer environments as well, kind of without any sharp edges. This was just kind of a fact that I ended up finding, where if you think about it, some places that you shop probably have rounded displays. They have rounded display tables, and then some places you shop have more kind of pointed edges tables. If you walk into Urban Outfitters, they've got just square wood tables. So they're not super pointy, they're not like jagged edges, but they're not super pointy, but they're more of a rectangular or a square type of display table. Then they also have circular display tables. Ulta has the same one, or Ulta has both as well. So they've got their kind of square tables as soon as you walk in the door, and then they've got their kind of ovalish, egg-shaped mini displays where they keep all of their minis of everything, because you definitely spend probably at least 5 minutes at those things. I know I did the other day for no reason. But you just kind of, you walk around in a circle. You're not bumping into anything, you're not cutting yourself, or you're not kind of giving yourself a scratch for any reason. So it's kind of been, there was a survey that went out, and some people prefer it, some people don't really kind of have a preference. They just like the displays when they're looking at it. It's not like it gets in their way or anything, but some people do prefer it. Especially if you have something that's going to be smack in the middle of your lobby. So just something to kind of think about when you're kind of creating that first impression as well. What does that front display look like the first time they walk in? So it also helps to encourage them touching and holding more items as well if you have that front display. So then we talk about shelf displays. So like I said, I apologize for not being turned around, but the very first thing that you're creating a design, you're creating a top shelf experience. So your higher priced products should always be kind of more towards the top or on your top shelf behind the counter, mainly because a lot of times our brains think that if something is a little bit farther out of reach or a little bit higher up, kind of as a hierarchy, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. There's a little more that goes into it, so it's going to be a little more higher priced. So it's just kind of how our minds think. The higher it is, the more expensive it's going to be. So in my salon, we always ended up having our Color Rush line kind of in that top shelf. So granted, I'm 5'3", I'm not very tall. I always had to get on like a little stool just to even reach the top shelf, but it was hot, away from my reach. So it was a little bit higher up, but that's kind of how we placed it out as well. We placed our higher priced products up top, and then you work your way down in price, but you are creating a design as well. So it's something else to think about. You want to make sure that they're a little bit staggered. They don't have to be in a straight line. They don't have to be in circles. They don't have to have super big gaps in between them. You can have them staggered a little bit. So you have one in front, just so you're like creating I guess a downward triangle. No, that's not you're creating a triangle of some sort. So you have one in front, you have two behind, three behind, depending on how many of that product you have. Kind of taking space pretty much. You're not creating giant gaps in between each product. You're kind of filling up your shelves without making them look like they have a ton of product on there, like they can't fit it all. So if you have a lot of SKUs, if you have pretty much kind of like too many SKUs, or if you have many SKUs, which would be a different SKUs would equal kind of how many products you have. So you wouldn't have the same SKU unless you have a product or a bottle and a packet, but those are already two different SKUs to begin with. So they just kind of counter in as one sometimes. But as in here at Devoted Creations, we have over 250 different SKUs. So if you've ever kind of heard us say that, that includes bottles and packets. So it would kind of be separate in that aspect. But based on your shelf space, if you have a lot of SKUs, you kind of look a little bit more like you have a little bit of an inconsistency in how you're selling your products. So it could kind of be in a customer's mind where it's like, there's so many options behind them, behind your employees on the counters, on the shelves behind them, to where it's like, oh my gosh, what do I choose? Like you kind of start talking to the employees, and then they start bringing down all these different products, and you're like, I still don't know. So the picture in the top right corner is the picture of kind of some salon shelves where I counted that, and it's 63 different SKUs. So that's a lot of options. I would be very overwhelmed, and especially when I first started tanning, I'd be like, I have zero idea of what I'm even looking at. So if you encounter someone like that and they're coming in, they're like, I kind of want to get tan, and then you start throwing so many different options at them, they're gonna be like super overwhelmed. So you want to kind of limit it to kind of the magic numbers between 18 and 21. It gives you kind of enough product to be able to have variety from, if that makes sense. So you still have your accelerators, you still have your natural bronzers, you still have your bronzers, you still have your tingles, you still have your aftercare, but you're kind of not giving them as many options for the sake of pretty much everyone. So you wouldn't want, just because you have so many different SKUs, to kind of have your employees know so many things. And obviously some salons are maybe carry different brands, so they have to know the different brands to begin with. But when you provide so many options, it can get a little overwhelming. However, having too little SKUs can kind of come across as in you are sold out and what's left is kind of the bottom of the barrel, or maybe it's just you don't have a lot of product to offer to begin with. So having too little is not always a great thing. Having too much is not always a great thing. So you want to be in that sweet little middle section. And then, like I said, you are creating that top shelf experience. So just work your way kind of from the most expensive all the way down, and kind of disperse them too. You don't have to keep them in like accelerators in one section, natural bronzers in another, and bronzers in another. It's nice if you have that for your employees to kind of know at least which products are which, but have them switch it up every once in a while, kind of switch it up weekly, and kind of move things around to create a new color scheme. Or moving things around all the time will actually help your clients' minds really start to kind of just continue looking. So if they always know that Camo Queen is stuck in right behind an employee's head, kind of in the middle of a shelf, on the second shelf up from the bottom, they're always going to know that it's there. However, the next week, if they don't see it there, and they really like it, they really want a bottle of it, they ran out of their last bottle and they really liked Camo Queen, they're going to go look and they're like, oh my gosh, it's not there, where is it? And they're going to look all around the shelves to find it, especially if it's been moved. If it's sold out, that's a different problem. But if it moved to a different spot on a different shelf, they're going to look at everything that you offer, trying to find it, but come across all the different products that you actually have as well. So kind of moving everything around weekly, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis around the salon, kind of helps and get your clients noticing more that you have, because they're going to realize that you're switching everything up, and you're like, okay, that's weird. Camo Queen used to be right there, but now it's not. But white to black coconut is there now. I'm like, oh, what's that? So it kind of gets them thinking and looking at everything else. Some of the little nevers that you don't really want to do with your lotion is, one of them is really big. You don't want to put it in a glass case, kind of like a jewelry case if you walk into a jewelry store. So you see all the jewelry in a case that you can put, like you can rest your arms on, you can put things down on. They pull the jewelry out from the bottom and they stick it on top of the case. You don't want to put your lotion in there because no one's going to be able to kind of touch it, smell it, feel it, imagine it in their hands. They have to go ask to look for it, and you have to bend down, take it out of the shelf, and then put it on. And that's 5 seconds that you could lose a sale for. So don't really put them in a glass case, because especially if it's down there too, people can just look at it and not really ask about it. So you have that. That's kind of one of what you don't really want to do. Another one is putting a price tag straight on the bottle. This isn't really like a never thing that you don't want to not do. Some salons do it, some salons don't. A lot of times if you kind of put a price tag on there, you take a little sticker, you put a price tag of $100 on Color Vibe. Color Vibe naturally retails at $109. So you're valuing that product at $100. So you're taking $9 off of it already. Or if you price it, mark it down to, that's not a very good example. If you price mark it down to like $70, you're losing $40 of actual kind of value on that product by telling someone that this bottle is $70. They see the price tag before they actually know anything about the product. So if you put a price tag on it, you either want to put it on the very bottom of the bottle. I don't have a bottle to show you, but you want to put it on the very bottom of the bottle, or you can kind of code it a different way so your employees know. A lot of times we've heard where you put price tags on it because it's easier for the employees to know what the price of the bottle is. The more they work, the more they sell lotion, the more they're going to kind of pick up on the prices of things, as they're very similar in price when it comes to kind of all Devoted Creations products. You kind of learn price ranges of each line, and then you kind of just goes up from there pretty much on what product comes out. They're all very, very similar. There's like 3 or 4 that actually have the same price, but they're all within $1 of each other. So if you're really trying to learn it, you can code it by like the alphabet. You can code it by a percentage off. So on the bottom of the bottle, you could do, I remember I was reading this and I was like, that I would take so long to figure out what the price of a bottle was. If it was $70, you would do you can do the letters and a numbers, or you can do a letter, and so you could do 71. I apologize, I do not know my alphabet and my numbers together. So it'd be like H is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I guess it's number 8 or number 7. So you can do like HA, so it's $71. No one else would know what that means except for your own employees. So it would take a little bit, especially if you kind of know your alphabet, but you have to number count with your fingers. It's going to take a little bit of a while to kind of figure out what the price of that would be, but it's an easier way to put on the bottom of the bottle and not actually have the clients know the price of the bottle. So they know the value behind the product based on the actual ingredients that are in there before they know the price. So kind of taking away or kind of adding to just not kind of putting a price tag straight on there unless it's on sale or anything like that. So it kind of it can take away the value of the product depending on what price you put on it. And then having too much and too little just kind of goes into having too many SKUs, not enough SKUs. Having very many options is where kind of that 18 to 21 SKU number kind of comes in. And then it goes into, you want to have at least 3 to 6 of that specific product, because it can actually help fill your shelves. So let's say you have a very great weekend of selling lotion bottles, and so you kind of run out of a lot of the inventory and the stock that you have, so you only have a few options left, but you've got maybe 3 or 4 bottles of each option that you have. You can help spread that out to where it kind of actually can fill your shelves and help make it look like you still have product without the customer thinking like, oh, they have 2 whole shelves that are missing product. They've got giant holes here and there. They've only got 5 products for me. That's not like, all these things go through clients' minds. So kind of having more of an inventory of something can help you kind of spread it out and fill your shelves even more that way. And now I want to talk about we're going to go into the psychology of how our minds kind of bring out color and register color. I found this to be very, very interesting. So our eyes can grow accustomed to a specific arrangement, which is why that we recommend kind of switching up your displays that you have, whether it's weekly, depending on the display. If it's your shelves, you want to do weekly. If it's a display that you have in the lobby, you don't have to do that weekly, because that's probably going to be a lot of inventory and a lot of stock that you have to continue moving around. You can do it on a monthly basis if you're doing it based on kind of sales or promos that you're running, whether it's with products, with services, or anything like that. But again, our eyes naturally look from top to bottom as well. So the first thing that you see at kind of an eye level is going to be what a client will see as well. So what you're looking at, you want to picture yourself kind of in your client's shoes. Are they going to look at this and spend the extra time that you want them to? Especially because it's like, you put so much effort into doing a display, doing display shelves, doing a kind of a bookshelf type of thing that you can get at Target or IKEA or the Container Store, and you have all these big giant cube shelves. You spend all this time decorating it, but it doesn't get any traffic because it's either you have a sign that's going to have 2 small words on there, or it's just a lot of product all at once. So you want to make sure that you spend the time doing that and you get that in return. You get the return of the client actually spending the time and looking at it, touching it, feeling it, looking at what's actually on the shelves, even if it's all the way down at the bottom. So you want to make sure that you're doing everything from top to bottom, because that's how our eyes naturally work as well. You walk into your own salon, even if you're in salon, you walk outside, you walk back into the door, and what is the first thing you look at? You look at your lotion shelves, especially if they're directly in front of the door. The first thing you do is you look from top to bottom. It's just kind of naturally how our brains work. So like I said, refresh and rearrange your displays weekly or monthly. That way you can always keep the customer looking, especially if you kind of rearrange the location of things. They'll continue to look around and see what you have to offer. And then yellow, what I've found really cool is yellow is one of the first colors that we actually kind of see, just because it's so bright. So we think of, when you see the color yellow, you think of the sun, you think of lemonade, you think of different things that are actually the color yellow. So yellow is one of the first things that you see, so it can catch the peripheral vision of your eye. If you're kind of walking into a store and you see something that's yellow, it's one of the first things that you see. Color meanings and preferences can actually help persuade a customer as well when they're purchasing an item, because we connect emotionally to a specific color. So for example, this isn't really kind of connecting emotionally, but this is the way that Disney kind of does it. If you've ever been to Disneyland or Disney World, they're redoing the whole park, they're adding new lands, taking away lands, but they've got all these construction walls up. It's painted the color green. It's actually called go away green is what they call it. They've got 2 colors that Disney Imagineers actually kind of, I guess, invented when it comes to kind of getting or kind of painting things or making things a specific color so our eyes don't register them. So our eyes kind of get accustomed, and all of a sudden they start registering something. So go away green is something that Disney actually kind of created. It's kind of a gray green, so it's a really dull green. They're on all construction walls that you see. So if when they were building Cars Land at Disneyland, I was still in California at that time, and it was just green walls all the way at the back of the park. So it ended up being the green walls, and then the green walls were gone. So our eyes don't register the green. You just see the green, and it's actually supposed to blend in with grass. It's supposed to blend in with trees. It's part of the aspect behind it was to help blend it in. So if it's a color that's going to be accustomed to us over time, it's going to kind of blend into everything else, especially if you see it on a weekly, monthly basis. So that's why it's always good to kind of rearrange things. Side note, they've also created the color blending blue. It was supposed to actually help with some little Disney facts here. It was supposed to actually help with the color of Cinderella's castle here in Florida at Disney World to blend in with the blue of the Florida sky. Didn't actually work that way, which is why the castle used to be a different color. Now it's kind of a brighter blue because they repainted it over the last couple of years, but they've kind of created 2 different colors. They created go away green, so all construction walls, trash cans, light fixtures, so light poles, fences, so a lot of things that you don't even think about that you're probably thinking about right now, like, she's actually kind of right. Like if you think about it, like all trash cans are all kind of this weird funky green color. light fixtures. So the kind of where light posts sit, the light fixtures are all this go away green color. It's very strange when I heard about that. I was like, it's actually kind of, wow, Disney has some Imagineers on their hands. So starting off with red. So now we're going to go into kind of the different different colors that our eyes can register, and kind of how those colors make us feel as well. So if you think about it, a lot of colors, like your favorite color may be pink, your favorite color may be green. How does that make you feel? How do our eyes and our brain register those colors? So starting with red actually helps to create kind of a sense of urgency in us. It can physically stimulate the body and kind of increase the heart rate. So if you see the color red, it's a red stoplight, it's a stop sign, and you have to all of a sudden like either maybe not slam on your brakes, but you have to kind of slow down, come to a stop. So it kind of just like raises your heart rate a little bit, and it can be associated with movement, excitement, or passion. When it comes to it, it can be roses. It can be the color red on Blonde Obsession. You never really know. Some examples of this are going to be either kind of McDonald's and Target. Both create passion. So red is all about emotion and passion, and that's kind of what McDonald's, that's kind of the psychological way around how McDonald's wants you to feel when you're eating their food. So when I was little, I used to go to McDonald's with my grandpa every weekend when I was at his house. We'd walk down the street to McDonald's. I would always get a hamburger, and I couldn't have the pickles. So if they gave me pickles, my grandpa had to take them off, and because I wouldn't eat pickles. And so I would go down there, I would eat fries, I would have an ice cream cone with him. So it was just kind of a nostalgia, kind of passion thing that I had when I was little with my grandpa. Now I still feel passion and emotion and happiness when I eat their fries, because it's like the only thing I eat from McDonald's now. But I was like, their fries are just amazing. So I feel all of this emotion when it comes from that. Target, on the other hand, you see Target's logo, it grabs your attention, it grabs the customer's attention, and actually helps to create kind of the idea of excitement to go shopping there and buy all of their new deals or new merchandise or new trending merchandise that they have. It creates excitement. My bank account is not very excited when they see the Target logo or see my car driving to Target, but that's kind of the nostalgia behind Target themselves. That's kind of what Target wanted to kind of create when it comes from that. So that's red. Now we have orange and yellow. So orange and yellow are kind of, they're not so much, they're two different colors. Orange comes from red and yellow together, but they can promote cheerful and promote optimism, and it creates a little bit of happiness. So when you think of yellow, it's like sunny, you think of the sun. So you think of sunny in 75, you think of sunny days. It kind of just brings out happiness and creates endorphins and releases endorphins and releases happiness. So you have to be careful when it comes to marketing purposes though. It's kind of weird. Yellow rooms can make babies cry a little bit more. Some people can argue more in yellow rooms. It's kind of, it incites caution. You see these big yellow caution signs when it comes to construction outside. So it just creates a little bit of anxiety when it comes to it, depending on how you're using it. Orange also can create caution, or create kind of incite caution as well. So you think of an orange caution cone or a traffic cone. All of a sudden you see construction. So you see a yellow construction sign followed by orange construction cones, and you're like, okay, I have to merge over, I have to get out of this lane, I have to slow down. So many things that you have to do, so it incites caution kind of in someone's mind. However, when you see Home Depot, we think of orange logos, you think of, I think of Home Depot. And Home Depot brings out excitement because you can build things, and brings out adventure because you can build things. So when you're going through Home Depot, you see the giant orange display racks that have all the different types of nails, tools, doors, light fixtures, bathroom essentials, all the different things that Home Depot could possibly have. You see it all in these orange kind of metal shelves. So it creates excitement and adventure because you're adventuring through Home Depot. And then yellow, I think of Snapchat. So Snapchat is one of those. It's normally social media logos. A lot of them can be blue, and Snapchat kind of moved away from that and went on the yellow route. So it can create happiness, excitement. It can help create kind of creativity because it's a little bit newer. It's a little bit different. And Snapchat themselves kind of target more of the younger crowd, the younger generation. So that's how it helps to create a little more creativity when it comes from it. It can inspire thought and curiosity as well. So Orange and yellow kind of work on that excitement, kind of caution, adventure side of it. So there's a lot of things that orange and yellow kind of register in our brains. But again, yellow is one of the first colors that we see because it's just also so bright. Then you have green. So green can be associated with kind of health, tranquility, wealth, because it's the color of money, and nature as well, because nature, a lot of nature aspects are green: plants, grass, trees, leaves, this fake plant that we got from Home Goods that's next to me. So a lot of things can be green, but it's more on the kind of nature aspect of it. And it can actually be it can be used to help kind of relax customers as well. So if you have kind of some greenery in the salon, that'll kind of help make it a little more homey. It can kind of create a little calmness, release a lot of anxiety that someone may have when they walk in as well. We always used to have a plant. Granted, the plant always died. It was called a money tree, and it ended up dying when I was there. So, or when I was at my salon. So now it was just like a little stump because we didn't know we had to water it. I'm not a plant person. If I try to create a plant, it doesn't bloom at all, or whatever it's called. It doesn't grow into anything. I do not know how to take care of plants. So I got left with a plant and I was like, what do I do with this? So none of us knew that we had to water the plant, and it had been there for, gosh, like maybe 4 or 5 years. And it just one day, leaves started coming off of it and it started kind of drooping a little bit. And so it was supposed to help relax customers, but it didn't relax any of the employees because we're like, what is happening to our plant? Anyways, that was a side note. So some examples of kind of green logos that you see that you're most familiar with can be Whole Foods, it can be Starbucks, it can be John Deere because of their kind of adventurous, and you see a tractor or a lawnmower or anything that John Deere kind of creates, you see this logo, you know exactly what it does. So Starbucks can actually help kind of promote a sense of relaxation. That's kind of what they kind of created in their coffee shops pretty much. So you walk into a Starbucks, it's very calm music. It's not best rap music of 2021. It's definitely more on the calm contemporary music side. So it's a little more calming, and it's one of those too where before COVID, you can go into a Starbucks and you can actually sit down and do your work. So it's a little more calming. It creates peacefulness in there. So it's kind of what they created with their coffee shops. Whole Foods can help associate with that kind of healthy side. So healthy eating, organic foods. Their arugula is very good, by the way. I'm not a huge organic person, but their arugula is fantastic. But it kind of creates kind of a sense of organic eating, healthier eating. You go there if you actually want to kind of cook good food. So you can buy good food in a lot of places, but if you're looking for organic food, you go to I think of Whole Foods. So it can help be a little more relaxing, and it kind of associates themselves with a little bit more of a healthy side. Then you have blue. So blue is kind of the most common color for men pretty much. So you ask any guys, or most guys will say that their favorite color is blue just because they've known that their whole lives. That's kind of what they associate as being kind of on that male side. So they think that they say that their favorite color is blue. My dad's favorite color is blue. My mom's favorite color is red. Mine is neither. Mine's pink. Mine actually used to be blue when I was little, when I used to think I was a tomboy, and now I am no longer a tomboy because I like all things pink. So blue is now no longer pastel blue, though, on the other hand. But anyways, blue can kind of associate itself with peace, tranquility, reliability, and then it kind of also helps to create kind of a sense of security and promotes productivity as well. So if you think of American Express and you think of Twitter, Twitter is kind of that social media logo that's more on the blue side, and then American Express is what actually can create that reliability, that tranquility that comes with it, because it helps to kind of promote trust in a brand as well. So American Express is very trustworthy, it's very reliable. So blue is used in social media logos, like I said, more than any other color. It's tested as the color of intelligence. It can be kind of tested more on the communication side. Like Facebook is also blue. So you go to Facebook to see updates on your friends, to see updates on your colleagues, on you go there for Facebook Marketplace. So you go there to kind of kind of incite itself with intelligence, communication, and trust as well. So that is blue. And then the last color The last color is going to be purple. So I also love the color purple, but it's also part of my sorority, so I also love the color purple. So purple can kind of be associated with royalty, with wisdom, with respect. It can stimulate problem solving and creativity as well. So kind of more on that hierarchy side of it. It can be found promoting anti-aging and beauty products as well. So some popular logos that actually have the color purple in them. Hallmark, so whether it's a Hallmark store, it's the Hallmark channel, their logo a lot of these logos can be found in many different colors, but the main logo color themselves, Hallmark's is purple, Yahoo's is purple, the makeup brand Tarte that you can find in Ulta and Sephora is purple and gold as well. And then New York University, so kind of that royalty of colleges, of the different kind of scales that it can have, whether it's on the Harvard or the Brown University level, you have New York University. So New York University obviously is located in New York, and the color of the logos are actually purple as well. So kind of the hierarchy of the college level as well. So you have purple, last color. Then you have black. So black really it can be associated as a color, but I know it as a hue. It can be associated more of as a hue because all the colors, you blend every single color together, it creates color black. So, or I guess the black hue pretty much. So it can actually help blend everything together, but it's more of a hue than a color. It can kind of incite authority, power, stability, confidence, and strength as well. So if you have kind of black shelves that your products will sit on, you have to make sure that your products can stand out because black kind of absorbs everything. It absorbs all of those colors. So if you walk into Sephora, they've got black display cases, but everything behind it is kind of more of that whiter color. It's got lights on it, so it can actually help display the products a little bit more because black can kind of drown out the color a little bit. So you want to make sure that you can highlight those products that are going to be sitting on kind of a black shelf or a black display table. Some popular brands that have kind of a black logo that are very successful are going to be Apple. You have Chanel, it's very, very popular, and Nike, which is very, very popular as well. So that's kind of how we see how our mind kind of creates black or kind of receives the color black as well. And then you have white. So white can create kind of this idea of cleanliness, of safety, kind of a clean slate as well. It can be used in the absence of color or kind of as a neutral side of it. So if you've got so many different colors, obviously we make bottles of every color of the rainbow here at Devoted. So we kind of have white kind of brings out those colors a little bit more. So you sit it on a white table, you sit it on in a white kind of little cubby. Those colors are going to pop out a little bit more because white acts as kind of that neutral color behind it. So it's kind of that clean slate that you can really do anything with. White space also helps to start the creative mind. So anything that you can think of when it comes to kind of displaying anything on white, you have free range of doing it because it's a clean slate. Starting your creative mind. So you have white, where do you go from there? Do you put red? Do you put purple? Do you put yellow? Do you put light green? So where do you go from there? So white is a really good kind of color and starting point in creating a display, creating your top shelf experience, and creating your image that you're really wanting your clients to look for and look at when they're coming into the salon. So then it goes into a little bit of colors for business as well. So when we talk about when I'm talking about kind of our product trainings that we go through, we talk about blue tansy, and my example of it is always the color wheel because blue and orange were always opposite of each other, which means they cancel each other out. So I do have an example of kind of the color wheel as well because it had been a very long time since I've actually seen one. But you've got your primary colors, which are obviously going to be red, yellow, and blue. And then you've got your secondary colors, which is going to be that orange, green, violetish purple. I know purple is purple. Violet is a very different word to say when it comes to purple, but it's technically purple as well. And then you have your territory colors, which are going to be every color that you can actually create from your primary and your secondary. So you have your 3 primary colors, and then you have your secondary colors that fill in those gaps, and then you have the territory colors that can fill in those gaps even more. So a yellow green would be a mixture of obviously yellow and green. A red orange would be a mixture of red and orange. So you've got 3 different color schemes that you can kind of work with as well. But color also reflects the personality of your brand. So if you have, if you want to create kind of a bubbly personality with your brand, you're going to probably have either your favorite colors that go into it, especially if you own your own salon, or you run the salon yourself and you've got all these bubbly colors, these bright colors, or neutral bright salon colors that reflects your personality as well. So you decide on what colors best represent you. So if your favorite colors are going to be violet and orange, then you create your salon that way, and then you can kind of have that color scheme throughout the salon. Some salons have pink and white, some salons have purple and yellow, some salons have red and white, or they've got blue doors, or they've got every color of the rainbow in their salon, just because that reflects their personality. So you put your own design, you put your own kind of personality into your salon, into the color scheme that you want. Pick your 2 main colors, and a lot of times it's also easier for clients to remember 2 colors versus 5 or 6 colors, just mainly because they would, if they forget the name of the salon, it's the first time they went in, and they're telling all their friends, they're like, oh, I remember that salon. I don't remember what it was called, but it was, they had like pink lettering, and then it was yellow on the inside. They had purple doors. They kind of remember colors if they don't exactly remember the actual name of your salon. And then use colors that stand out when you're wanting to draw attention. So if you're creating a new display based around Enchanted Emerald, you want to be able to kind of draw the attention to Enchanted and to a specific kind of sign or an advertising sign that you made that highlights the promo that you're running with it, or it's a call out and it's all the fact information that's about Enchanted. So what colors are you going to bring that actually draw the attention to that? So you want to make sure it's kind of in the eye range. So if you walk inside and it's off to the corner, in the right-hand corner, they're not really going to see that over there. So you want to make sure that you're putting it right in front. If you're highlighting a specific product, you want to make sure it's bright colors that can actually draw the attention of the customer as they're walking in, so they walk over and they actually look for it and look at it. In-room advertising. So here's another aspect of coming to kind of making your space kind of pop a little bit more. So in-room advertising would be considered kind of any sign or any call out that you have in every room that you have in the salon, whether it's the bathroom, your red light room, your spray room, anything like that. They all have to have the same thing in them, especially if you're kind of highlighting one specific thing. So studies show that 84% of clients actually pay attention to in-room advertising more than a little bit of anything else. Because when you're in the salon, you're going tanning, you have 5 minutes of delay time before your bed actually turns on. While they're putting on lotion, they have to be looking at something in the room. They're either looking at a blank wall, or they're looking at a sign that's highlighting what promo you have running right now, whether you have 25% off lotion, or you're doing kind of a session package. It's buy this bottle, get upgrades for free. So whatever you have going on, you want to make sure that you put it in the rooms as well, because clients spend a little more time in the rooms than they actually do with the front counter. We all get very comfortable with our clients. So a lot of times if we are a little bit on the busier side, they're kind of coming in, you're getting them all ready to go, you're kind of talking to them a little bit, and then you're sending them off to their room. They probably spend maybe 1 to 5 minutes at the front counter, depending on kind of what you're encountering with them. So if it's a brand new client, yes, they're going to spend a little bit more time at that front counter. And while you're getting them into the system, they'll look at what you have up there, whether it's a new product, it's a call out, it's a fact sheet, your impulse buys that are up there. They're looking at everything, but they're going to be spending a little bit more time in that room versus at that front counter, even if they are new clients, because they're going to be listening to you a little bit more than actually looking around as well. So you can highlight promos that you have, you can feature new products or services that you are kind of running with those promos, or any tanning tips. So even in your rooms, you can kind of you can have signs, bigger signs that are a little bit more on the permanent side, that kind of say how to maximize your tan, or kind of how to maintain your spray tan, or how to do with kind of if you have a Versa Spa or Versa Pro, kind of how to actually run the spray tan. How do you do the spray tan in there? So all these different things that you can put more on the permanent side that are in the rooms, kind of more tanning tips wise. And then, like I said, clients spend more time actually in the room than they do at that front counter. Even if it's kind of your regular customer that comes in. I used to have a customer that would come in and just, I swear she would speak to me for probably 30 minutes. And I'm like, I would love to keep talking to you, but then we would get a little bit busy and she would just stand there, and she would, like, we'd have her on tan line, we'd have her all set in her bed, but she was just wanting to sit there and talk to us. And there'd be days where it would go up to about 30, 35-ish minutes before she would even go in and tan. So sometimes you have your regular customers like that, but they come in every day. They see everything that's on the counter every day. So if it's something that maybe it's new, and it's a not so much an everyday client, they'll see it in the rooms more than they would at the front counter, especially if you're trying to get them tan as quick as possible if you're really busy. So that's another thing to do with in-room advertising, is we do spend a little bit more time in there, and you want to make sure you do it in the bathroom as well. I did have someone, this was a couple years ago, I had someone, we were doing probably a lotion sale, and we got super busy when she came in, and she ended up going to the bathroom after she tanned. She didn't realize it was in the room because I think she went into the bed like right away, and she went to the bathroom afterwards and came back up, and she was like, "Are you guys doing a lotion sale? I saw it in the bathroom." So don't forget the bathroom. It's very, very important, because sometimes they might miss it in the room, but they don't miss it in the bathroom. So it's another thing, just make sure you don't forget the bathroom if you do in-room advertising. And then your counter displays. So your counter displays, we can kind of consider them kind of your impulse buys. You go to Ulta, you go to Sephora, you go to Urban Outfitters. There's all of these things that kind of sit on the counters at the checkout desks, and you look at them. Trust me, you look at them, and you're looking at all of them, and you're like, oh, which one do I want this time? Or if it's lip gloss, if it's chapstick, if it's minis of anything, you want to make sure that you have something up on the counter, because it gives them something else to look at than just kind of a blank space. So giving them those impulse buys, so they touch it, they feel it, they can mess around with it, depending if they're kind of waiting on you to kind of enter all their information in the system. They can be looking at a bunch of different things. So not just kind of that product call out on there. You want to have other things as well. You can have an acrylic box that kind of features new products, kind of with that information fact sheet that's on there. You can do our lip balm fish bowls. So it comes with, I believe, 40 of them. It's like vanilla, you have tangerine. We used to have lip buddies. So you can have like kind of chapstick fish bowls, lip glosses that you have. I know a lot of the salons don't carry just lotion. They do have other things that are sold in there. So you have all of your different options, your bath bombs, our new mini moisturizers, hand sanitizer, anything that's really popular right now that you really want to grab the attention of a customer, you want to put them on that front counter so they can touch them, know that they're there, feel them, kind of play with them, mess with them while they're waiting on you to kind of get the information into the system. You can have testers, you can have your new tan extenders, you can even do bundles. So if you are kind of wanting to kind of sell a bundle, you're doing a bundle promo, you want to have the bundle on the front counter so they can at least know what the bundle is. If you just have it sitting behind the employees or kind of on the desk, they're not going to know what that is. So you want to have it front and center so they see it every time they come in. You can even have a bottle display. So there's so many different options you can have kind of as your impulse buys that you put on that front counter so your clients can see it every single time they walk in. So lastly, we're going to talk about some little visual merchandising tips that my friend, who's actually a visual merchandiser in New York City, kind of helped kind of verify all of these as well, that she runs through when she does her visual merchandising and her displays in her store. So one of the things that you want to make sure that you're looking at too is product grouping. So this goes into bundling. So your complementary items that go together, or something that a customer will look twice at. So your new Enchanted Emerald, your Opalescent, and an Cosmo Sun SPF. So you have different options that you can bundle something together that's going to make someone look twice at it. Your rule of three also helps to kind of create balance and symmetry. So the rule of three is really just kind of bundling kind of 3 different products together that go together. So they have to make sense when it comes to doing it. And then you want to also look at activating all the different senses. So your hearing, I know there's a different word for it, but your hearing, when you walk into the salon, what music is playing, what conversations are going on, What do they hear outside? What do they hear in the salon? Is it the booth? Is it a spray booth that's right by the front door? Is it your matrix that talks to you in your English accent by the front door? So what do they hear when they walk in? And then sight, of course. So lighting, is it a little bit darker? Is it a little bit brighter? What kind of lighting do you have? And what kind of color schemes do you have in there as well? That really draws their attention and makes them look twice at that as well. Their touch. So how soft if you sell clothing items, shirts, sweatshirts, cropped hoodies, how does it feel? Making sure that they can actually kind of look through it, they can touch it, they're active and kind of searching for things, holding things, touching things, feeling things. Their smell. So what does it smell like? My hairdresser that I go to, they always have a candle. So it's a little bit dimmer, but it's also kind of the ambiance of the hair salon that I go to. It's a little more on the boho desert vibe. And they always have a candle going. It's a little bit dimmer, but it always smelled really nice. They've always got their kind of group of three, their rule of three that they're highlighting with their new product of the week, or I guess hairstyle of the week when it comes to like their volumizing shampoo or their color kind of grouping together. So they've always got something highlighted on the front desk. They've always got a candle going on the front desk. So just different options on like, what does it smell like in there? Does it smell like tanning? Or does it smell like a salon? Because I know tanning salons have a very distinct smell. It's very strange. Like I'll walk into the salon we have downstairs in our offices, and it smells like a salon. It has a distinct smell. You can't put your finger on it, but it has a distinct smell. So does it smell like that? Does it smell like something fruity? Does it smell like a candle? There's all these different things that can kind of activate that smelling sense. And then taste. Taste is a little bit, there's nothing beyond the word taste, because unless you really have unless you're really running an event, a customer appreciation day where you've got taste testers, food samples out and about, kind of what they would taste from that. You really don't want them to taste anything else unless they're tasting food or drink. So, but that's part of our senses. So if you do have an event that's going on, what does it taste like? Pretty much is where I was going with that. And then your signage, of course. So in-room advertising, what your counter displays look like, your product callouts look like if you have those, what promos are you running, kind of stuff like that with all your signage. So what does your signage look like? You want to make sure it's all visible, it's short and to the point, and if anyone has any questions, they'll ask you about it. If you put all the information onto one piece of paper that they can read everything that goes on, they're not going to ask about it. So it could be buy this product today and upgrade, or you can buy Enchanted Emerald today and you can upgrade for free today. Ask me how you can do that. Or upgrade for free today. Ask me how you can do that. So there's different ways you can do it, short and to the point, and it really just draws someone in and you're like, how do I upgrade for free today? So it'll make them ask questions about it. And then creating that hierarchy is really kind of giving your shelves and your counters that depth and dimension. So the different heights that go into it. It's really going to make them look a little bit more at the lotion shelves or at any shelves that you have, just because it's different. They're going to see, instead of everything being all the same height, it's going to make them look at something that's going to be a little bit different. You've got one bottle up a little bit here. You've got one bottle that's going to be a little bit higher on a little bit of a taller kind of display rack. So the different things that can draw our eyes in and kind of have us look up and down and have our eyes move. Staying current. So obviously kind of refreshing your items, refreshing your themes throughout the year. Decorations are always a good thing as well, to kind of decorate your salon with the different kind of themes and holidays that go in throughout the year too. It just makes it a little more fun and a little more cozy. Displaying your colors. So displaying them in more of an energetic, more of a complimentary way as well that appeals to customers. And minds automatically will actually draw towards the color that will appeal to them. So if you have colors of lotions that go from pink to purple in the color of the rainbow, your eyes automatically draw to the color that you like the best. So my favorite color is pink. So I would start at pink. Granted, you do normally naturally look from left to right. So I would look for pink, and it just happens to be on the left. And then from there, you would look at everything else, because the color that you like the most is what's going to draw you in first. So color schemes, you've got your monochromatic, your analogous, your complementary colors. So all these colors that go together. Monochromatic would be kind of your black, whites, and grays. So what kind of color scheme are you going for? Remember, color is also an accent. So you don't want it to kind of overshadow the product. You don't want to try to create a whole greenery scene behind Enchanted Emerald. You really want Enchanted Emerald to kind of stand out a little bit more. So what are the complementary colors that go with green and white is really what you would look for if you're highlighting Enchanted Emerald. And then another idea that I kind of had while I was typing all these out is kind of separating your products out too. If you've got UV, sunless, red light, body care, you've got all these different categories of products, not just your accelerators, your natural bronzers, your bronzers, but more of like your body care. Have a section for your body care, whether it be your body washes, your scrubs, your lotions, your bath bombs, whatever you carry. It could be all of your sunless options, so your sunless aftercare, your anything that's with a specific brand, so it would be your whole selfie collection. So, and then your tanning collection as well. So you've got different options on kind of separating it that way, but also creating it in that rule of 3 to where you're actually kind of bringing those products back together as well and highlighting those that they can all be interchangeable, but kind of show them that they can also be separate at the same time. And then promotions with cross merchandising. So it kind of helps to it makes life a little bit easier for your customers by cross merchandising things for them so they don't have to think about it. So if you look at, I guess I'll use Opalescent as an example. If you look at Opalescent and then you look at Enchanted Emerald, you just think that's a lotion and a tanning lotion. If you highlight them together, and you highlight them as in, you can either say they have the same scent or you can say they have the same base, they've got the same ingredients. If you don't highlight any of that, customers are not going to know that they actually are complementary to each other. They're just going to think that they can be separate. So if you highlight and show that you can do a bundle with both of those, you do a product call out sheet that's going to have all the different ingredients on there. Granted, they're all going to be the same, or mostly are going to be the same. But if you don't have anything that's going to kind of show you what's in each product, they're not going to know that they can actually go together. So mix in your products that customers might otherwise kind of forget about as well. So whether it's a tattoo stick or sunscreen or a lip balm or anything else that you have that kind of customers may not even know that you have, nail savers, anything like that that you can kind of throw in with your bundles and highlight them together or have them kind of be on your front counter. And then see it also as an opportunity to introduce a new product as well. So you get that new product in and you want to highlight that new product. You want to make sure it's front and center. It is with kind of one of your more popular lotions or more popular tan extenders that you have. So that way it can be seen, shown right up front, and everyone's going to go and look at it and they'll be like, it's a new lotion. What's that one about? So they're going to ask you more questions about it if it's something new that they haven't seen and it's right in front of their face, which is good. And then approximately about 2/3 of consumers actually buy products at the point of purchase as well. So they're at that front counter. 2/3 of customers are going to buy something that's on that counter that can be that impulse buy for them. So use something that's going to be eye-catching. So eye-catching product displays, whether it be the minis, the tan extenders, your SPFs, your CBD products, if that's kind of what you're highlighting for the month of April or the week, and kind of use your testers to your advantage as well. So make something a tester. So your clients can feel it, can touch it, can smell it, can know what it's going to kind of look and smell and feel on their skin as well. So if you don't use something as a tester, they're not going to really know. And I know during COVID, it can be a little bit different because you're kind of you want to limit the amount of touch that a specific bottle gets. But if you're consistently cleaning, you wouldn't really have it. You wouldn't really become an issue, but you have the tester as an option, even if the clients don't want to take it, but they have interest in it, or I guess pump it out, not take it. They wouldn't want to take a tester, but they have interest in it. So they're going to either ask more about it or they're going to use the tester that's available to them that's right in front of them. So use your testers to your advantage as well. And then lastly, I promise, the very last slide, your rule of 3. So just a little bit more on your rule of 3. Displaying in sets of 3 can actually help capture someone's attention. So you've got your tan extender, you've got your tanning lotion, you've got your SPF. No one, if a regular client or an everyday client might not even realize that those 3 can go together or know the benefits of those 3 kind of on a daily basis. So if you're tanning lotion, you have your SPF to use outside, it is getting a little bit warmer, and because we are closer to summer now. And then your tan extender that you really want to encourage all your tanners to use on a regular basis. So you have that option, displaying in sets of 3s, it can kind of draw someone's attention a little bit more. Staggering them at different heights, so that way kind of, again, it draws them in a little bit more and they're like, okay, I gotta look up, I gotta look down, I gotta look sideways. So they'll see all the different options that you have at the different heights. So it's kind of like a not scheme, pyramid way, pretty much. You're kind of drawing them up a little bit more. So that way they look at the one that's actually the highest, and then they look at the other ones that are below it. Elements that need to actually help be organized, and they do have to make sense as well. So you're displaying them in 3, whether it's going to be a bundle you're selling together or just like an option that you're trying to highlight 3 different products for that week or that month. They have to make sense. So you don't want to put something in there that really doesn't go with it. So a bath bomb and a tanning lotion. Yes, everyone needs a bath bomb when they go into their baths. They can have a very soothing bath to themselves, but how does that tie in with the tanning lotion aspect? So you either need something else behind that, or kind of put that bath bomb with something else. So you want to make sure that it makes sense. This is where you can also have that opportunity of cross-selling and upselling as well. So you can either upsell them to something a little bit more expensive and something that's going to be a little more beneficial for them, or you have that cross-selling option of you're kind of blending a couple different categories together to where it makes sense for the customer to purchase all of them as well. And then lastly, it gives customers kind of a visual that those options can go together. Like I said before, if they're kind of just sitting on your shelf and you talk about them, they're not really going to be able to visualize everything working together until they see it in front of them. So you kind of eliminate that wonder by already kind of creating it and putting it on the counter. And then that way they see it, they can visualize it right away, and they can see that they actually do go together instead of having that wonder for a little bit of time while you're explaining it. So that is all I had for today. Thank you everyone for logging in with me. I know it was a little bit of an hour, a little bit more than an hour, but thank you everyone for logging in with me today. If you have any questions, I'll stay on a little bit longer. If not, you are free to log off, and I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday. And this will be up on Devoted on Demand probably later next week, so that way we've got a little bit of time to get it up there. It'll be up with it should be up within a week, so probably, I guess it's Thursday, so the end of next week. If you have any questions, like I said, I will stay on for a little bit longer. If not, you are free to log off. Again, thank you everyone for logging in with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday and a great rest of your week and weekend, and I guess or April, because tomorrow is the last day of April. Oh my goodness, tomorrow is the last day of April. Have a great rest of your April. So thank you everyone.